our Gonzaba Connection Wednesdays. It's an opportunity for us here at Gonzaba to connect with you guys at home or wherever you may be, since we can't really meet in person anymore. But today is a very special day. It's a very special morning because we have State Representative Ray Lopez in the house. How are
Yay.
you doing? We're so glad that you're here and taking the time to be with us this morning.
Oh, I'm doing tremendous. And I'm glad to be here with you. And hopefully we can get into a little bit of discussion about some of the really, really important things that are happening around in our world.
Right, and there's a lot of important things going on, and I know two of the most important things that we're going to talk about right now. Obviously, there's the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit our city and really the nation, but also voting. You know, people are talking about this. It's a hot topic on the news. It's a hot topic, at some of our family conversations with my family. What's going to happen? You know, what is Bexar County going to look like? What is our nation going to look like? But before we get into that. State Rep, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've been serving San Antonio and its citizens for so many years.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about me. My wife and I have been married for 49 years. We'll be celebrating 50 years next year, and I'll be actually in session. But like I told her, we're going to figure out a way to have a big celebration next February when we hit that big milestone of the big 5-0.
Yes.
In those 50 years, we've been blessed. We've got 4 grown children. And 14 grandchildren. And we're just excited to be able to spend time with them. Although recently it's been a little bit different, as a the new normal. And we try to do everything safely, but still be able to reach out and keep that connection between us, our kids and our grandkids, because it's incredibly important. I've had the opportunity many years ago in 1990 to run and serve on the Northside Independent School District School Board, where I got a chance to serve as president and really kind of started my political career there, recognizing that, gee, you really have to get involved in what's going on. There's no better place to get involved than probably within your school system, because that's where the foundation of everything happens. So I stayed there for almost a decade. A few years later, I decided to run for city council, and lo and behold, I won that too. So that was good. And I served for 8 years until I term limited out. So I've enjoyed it. I want to continue to do that, and I'm anxious to work with you guys to continue, serving that wonderful community that we have. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely, and we thank you so much. We've been able to partner with you on several events over the past year, I guess. So we're looking forward to getting back to the normal that we're used to as far as being engaged with your constituents and with our patients. So let's get right into this. A big topic, as we said, was voting, and you talked about the governance and how we can make a difference. And the primary way for us as constituents and citizens, right, is to vote. And to make educated votes, right? Look at the candidates, look at what the climate of the nation is. But right now, I think it's safe to say that COVID-19 is affecting this voting period.
Well, it has undoubtedly in a couple of different ways, right? One is just the ability for us to go out there and exercise what we all recognize to be probably one of the most important privileges that we have as Americans, and that's to go out and vote. Well, it's affecting it in the sense that we have another very, innate, if you will, drive, and that's to stay healthy. Those are kind of being conflicted. But I can tell you that yesterday, being the first day of the early voting, there's been a lot of guidelines that have been really embraced by the community to make sure that we provide as safe an environment as possible for folks to be able to go out there and exercise that privilege of that voting. And that really is incredibly important. I know that the registrars, the folks at the polling places will provide you gloves. They'll provide you even a pencil so that you can, a stylist, I think is what they call them, so that you can go and do touch-free voting. And of course, we should all be practicing all the things that we've been hearing about, right? Face coverings, face masks, all the other things that are incredibly important to keep us all safe, not only ourselves, but those around us.
Right. So right now, as you mentioned, it's early voting. And so the primary runoff race is happening. Can you talk to us about that and why it's important for us to participate?
Yeah, this one has been a real interesting, I guess is a good word, runoff season. Typically, there's an election. If you don't get more than 50%, you go into a runoff. 30 days later, boom, you're in a runoff, and people are still kind of excited about what's going on. In this case, because of the pandemic, the gap between the election and the runoff has been very, very long. March was the election, and here we are in July, late June, early July, where the actual runoff is going to happen. A lot of people, a lot of things have happened in that period of time, but there are some folks that are in both parties that are in a runoff. That runoff election will continue for the next couple of weeks. Can run through some of those timelines in a minute, but the idea is that there are some candidates out there that are very anxious to get to work, very anxious to get, give their contribution to our community, but they've got to get past this. Once we do get past this, which will be within the next couple of weeks, then one of those folks from this primary runoff will go into the November election, and we'll kind of go through all of this again. Now, one of the good things is that we're able to kind of practice how we're going to be safe about voting, right? How to do the social distancing, make sure we wear the mask, wear the gloves, get the pencil to go do the touchless voting, and we'll be able to do that in relatively small quarters, if you will. The numbers the number of folks running are not so large, so people will be able to get in and out quickly. But it'll at least give us an opportunity to kind of practice what we're going to wind up doing in November, and that ballot will be long. There'll be a lot of folks on that ballot, and I think there'll be a lot of folks that'll be turning out. I think what's going to be real important then and now is to continue that social distancing when we're standing in lines, wear the mask, and all that
Yes.
kind of. So we've got an opportunity to get out there, do a quick vote, get in and out, kind of figure out how it is. And then that way we can be really, really smooth in transition well in November, because that's going to be the big one.
Right. So you touched on the precautions and how you all have changed in-person voting, because I know a lot of people are probably, I saw it on the news, just this morning, about being nervous about having to stand in line and 6 feet apart and then touching the screens, and it's a big deal. But I know that especially for seniors, there's other ways for them to vote instead of having to go and stand in line and vote in person. Can you talk to us about that?
Well, sure. There certainly are. Now, it's a little late for in the runoff to be able to ask for your early ballot, your mail-in ballot. That needed to have happened a couple of weeks before the election, but that can certainly happen for the November election to ask for a
Right.
mail-in. 65 and above, you can get a mail-in ballot automatically just by requesting it. Or if there's other conditions that apply. One, if you're concerned for your health, perhaps, are there other issues, disability issues, or if you're going to be out of the country, for example, you can request a mail-in ballot. My understanding is that whatever you say that you are your condition will be accepted. There's not going to be a ballot police running around saying,
Okay.
are you really, really having this condition? But the reality of it is, all of us need to ask for an early ballot if we can. If you're 65 and above, you automatically get the ballot. So that's a good thing, and I would definitely encourage folks to do that. The other thing is, we now have, of course, early voting, which allows us to kind of get in line at our choice. We can drive by at any time of the day or any week of the day of the week, and then see when the lines are low and try to go slide into a line that's relatively short. And we can virtually go to any of the polling places during the early voting and go and vote. And that'll kind of speed things up as well. That's both during the runoff as well as in November. The other thing that I would encourage a lot of our seniors that are a little bit difficult time getting in and out of their car, perhaps. We all kind of struggle at one time or another with mobility. You can
Mhm.
call in advance, call the polling place that you're going to go and visit, let them know approximately what time you're going to be there, and they will bring the ballot, a mobile ballot, out to the car and be able to let you vote in your car. That's something
Wow.
that is available. It's been available for the last few cycles and has really, really worked well, but people just don't know about it. So that's a really easy one. You call in advance, let them know you're coming. And when you get there, obviously somebody's going to be driving you, have them go inside and get the registrar to bring you the little machine so that you can vote. That has worked out very, very well. Again, we need everybody to be safe, be thorough, but be sure to come out and vote because it's so important. And the issues really that are going to be deciding our well-being over the course of the next few years will be decided during this vote. Whoever gets into office are going to be making a lot of decisions in this coming legislative session. It's going to be really, really difficult to parse out the priorities, to fund them, make
Right.
sure that we're in a good way as a state to be able to provide the needs of our Texans.
Right. Well, State Rep, thank you so much for joining us today. I know early voting does end on July 2nd, so it's just tomorrow. This will air, tomorrow. So it's important for us to really take advantage and use our voice, right? Se dice, su voto es su voz, ¿verdad? Su voto es su voz. So especially for our community here and people that are just crying out for change. It's so important. Any last words regarding just general safety? I know you've mentioned it about social distancing and wearing masks right now. I know you've got a lot of constituents, I'm sure, that have been very worried about this. So any final words from you regarding what's going on?
Well, I guess the most important thing for people to remember is just be conscious of where you are. Uh, Give the message to our young people, our young grandchildren, that when they come around you, they could be asymptomatic, which means they might have the virus, but they don't show any symptoms. And that makes them quite contagious for their grandparents whenever they're in contact with them. We need to be, while it's difficult to tell our grandkids, yeah, let's keep it down to a minimum of a hug. We need
Hmm.
to be really aware of that and communicate that to our kids and to our family and to our loved ones, and know that at the end of the day, we will make it through this process. We're working very, very hard at the state and at the federal level with our medical professionals to make sure that we find a vaccine. That in the meantime, that we identify the treatments that are going to be effective for those of us that need it, and to be able to provide all the things like the ventilators and
Right.
hospital beds to make available for them. So we're working really, really hard to make that happen. And I can tell you that I'm so glad to be able to have the staff that I do because they have been engaged in outreach to our community. And I would ask everyone to please give us a call if you need anything at all. Our office number is 210-684-5419, or you can reach us at ray.lopez@house.texas.gov. We're available, to meet the needs, any need that you might have, and put you in contact with people that can support you.
Awesome. Well, State Rep, you're doing such a great job. And again, we are so excited to one day be able to meet in person and have more events for our seniors and your
Yeah, more pachanga.
constituents of your district.
I love it.
I know we throw great parties with Ray Lopez. We're excited to do that for the community very, very soon. So thank you again. Stay safe. We
Thank
appreciate you joining us for these Connection
Thank
Wednesdays. Once again, for those that are just joining us, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Gonzaba Medical Group is still here. We're open 7 days a week. Call us if you'd like to become a member of our familia here at Gonzaba Medical Group, where we do treat you guys like family, como familia. Thank you so much for tuning in.